the weather, the streets were approved in the wintertime, some of them, and now that the weather is breaking, you're gonna start seeing us fix them because we already voted on them. River Street will be done in August. River Street was not just a repaving. River Street was a sewer infrastructural issue, which cost us approximately $20 million. $20 million, and we had to fight and work with our county and our state legislators, and we found that money, and we were able to get it done, thanks to the council approving it. You can look throughout the city, there were different areas where there was over 2,000 vacant and abandoned properties in the city of Paterson. We are now down to less than 200. And a lot of those properties are on the tax roll, which assists with your tax increases. And I always say this because people, they talk things, but I like to give facts. For the last 8 years since we've been in the council, you have not gotten over a 2% tax increase. You know why? Because we fight hard with the state, with the county to make sure we do not go beyond. We have a mandatory memorandum of understanding in place because we are a tax-strapped city that we have to apply for transitional aid. We've been on transitional aid since my babysitter, Councilwoman Ames, was on the council. That's over 30 years ago. We've been on transitional aid. We've always had to borrow money from the state. We have our health care costs that are high. We have our pensions, our Medicare Part A and Part B payments. So every year there's a high increase. Things without our control, and then, God forbid, any lawsuits that come through, and anybody that we have to pay out for different things that were unexpected. So we have to make sure that we have money to pay our employees, to pay our bills, and make sure the city continues to move forward. But with that being stated, we kept our word and our promise, and we stabilized the taxes at 2%. Hinchliffe Stadium, I'm a former Ghost. I know there's some people that went to Eastside, or you remember Hinchliffe Stadium. Yes. Hinchliffe Stadium have been deprivated for 30 years. And there was money available called Economic Revitalization Tax Grant dollars. Free money that you can apply for to revitalize any area that is very downtrodden in the city. No other mayor, none that was in City Hall ever applied for that money. Wow. Ever in the city of Paterson. And the reason why I was so intrigued, because I was in Kennedy High School, and our former Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter was talking about how in the state, she would have to approve all the applications, but Paterson never applied. Never applied. I don't know if you know it, but I said sometimes you have to tell the community. They never applied. It wasn't until through Congressman Pasquale, Senator Benji Williams, Poe, Shavonda Sumter at that time, it was that team that fought with Mayor Andre Saya, and Mayor Andre Saya and his team did the application, and our council approved it. But just think about 30 years of free money, and we never applied for it. $140 million in tax credit dollars that we never got because it was never applied for until this administration came into place. That's how we got Hinchliffe Stadium, the senior apartment buildings, there's an early childhood daycare there, and also a nice parking garage up by Hinchliffe Stadium. And so I tell people we deal with facts and not fiction, right, my lovely queen, Francesca? There's so many great things that we have done, and for me, I'm always gonna tell you the truth. You'll hear a lot of other stuff that's being said, and if you don't believe it, I'll give you the facts. I'll show you the resolution where it's been approved. Tax abatements, people talk about that all the time. Tax abatements is a program that was introduced so that we can have developers come into the town, revitalize the city, right? To take away all the vagrancy and all the crime that goes on, and crime has reduced by 30%. And so it was a great thing to bring it in because in some of these areas, it used to just be a stump or an empty lot. Remember that? We had all these places, and now you have builders. So some people complain about the buildings, but the people that live there are not complaining because they need a place to live. And so we have to think of both sides. And then you come in, you get a tax abatement. The majority of them were not approved by the city council, despite what people are saying. That is not a true statement. They were not approved by us. However, they come on in a tax abatement. A lot of those properties are back on the tax roll. So when they come back on tax roll, if you're a taxpayer, it helps you. Right? It helps you at that point once that time period is over, because it's not like they're getting no taxes. they're getting a reduction in their taxes, but when that 10-year period is over, they have to pay taxes. You have some developers that bought the properties and then they revitalized them and sold them, and they're back on the tax rolls. So these are a lot of things that we don't know about, and I'm gonna ask Pastor Lagon, not just because it's election season, because you don't just see me because it's election season. So I'm sure most of you see me all the time, all the time, and I'm not doing it for election, but after the season is over, I would love to come back and do a Q&A so that you can be abreast of what's happening in the city of Paterson. So that when people are talking and saying things, you'll know the truth versus the lies. Because it's very important that we know what's going on in the city of Paterson. I'm born and raised 4th Ward. I'm from the 4th Ward of Paterson. I work in School 21, the same school I went to every day. I could walk the 4th Ward and not be afraid because I know all these, whether I know the parents, the children, the uncle, the auntie. I'm from the 4th, as Miss O'Connor knows. She used to watch me when I was a baby. They all know me. Very Amy is my babysitter. So I'm asking all of you to make sure we live in Paterson. How many people live here? I live here. So for me, my conversation about Paterson is always positive.
Amen.
Because I live in Paterson. Are there things we can do better? Yes, there are. But you're never going to see me talk negative about Paterson, ever. Because I live here and I want the best for Paterson. And where it's not good, I'm going to fight to make it good. So on May 12th, and for those that have mail-in ballots, make sure you vote 13B. Vote for someone that you always see, not because it's election time and not because they want their vote. There's some people that are never going to come to the 4th Ward and campaign. They're never coming over here, but they want your vote.
That's right.
They're never going to come over here. Some people have never been in the church, but now that they're running, they're in the church. They've never stepped their foot. They don't profess that they are a child of God or anything, but as soon as they're running, they're in the church. So always be wise to that. Be wise to the people that really got your back. MIMMS got your back. She got your back. That's why they attack me so heavy.
That's right.
People always attack people that do their job. You're not doing your job, they will attack you.
That's right.
When you stand up for what's right and you won't dibble and dabble, they're not going to attack you. If you give them if you can be their puppet and they can control you, then guess what? They won't attack you. But I'm like a tree planted by the rivers of the water of Paterson. And I will not be moved.
Amen.
Amen. So make sure, let's do the right thing. I know my partner in crime, Councilwoman McCott, my partner in progress, Councilwoman McCott is on her way. She called me and I told her, by the time you get here, I'm going to be gone.
Amen.
So make sure you tell, as my cousin, Pastor Graham says, Lottie Dottie and everybody, to vote for MIMMS. 13B on the ballot. You will not be disappointed. I'm always around. Amen. God bless you and thank you for your support.
All the time.
It means the world to me, knowing that I have